So, understand how we did this, because you're going to teach me later tonight.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're just going to take this nice young lady along with us.
Come home with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
She seems quite good.
Magic stuff, specially ground. Go to InStream on Slack and tell them it's on Facebook. Would somebody please grab it for YouTube?
I just did it.
Traditionally, that happens after the teaching. Just in case you want to follow tradition. You can do it now. Come on. You're all set up. Somebody text Nyando sorry and hope she feels better and to get in touch with me later.
Lama Lena, on behalf of CTBCC, our precious Sangha, we'd like to make this offering to you.
Thank you. Now you hold it like that. And you all go like this. And sing with me. Saji Kuki Juxing Me Tok Tram Ri Rabling Ji Ni De Gyan Padi Idam Ratna Mandala Kamniriatayami. Thank you.
Thank you. I needed that.
One often does.
Yes, I have a little something to read about you, if that's okay.
Go for it.
First of all, Jan and Helga, thank you. As you know, Helga's not here. For those of you who might not know, she fell and hurt her knee. She might be having surgery. We don't know yet. But thank you, Jan, for organizing this. Thank you, Karen and Vicky, for assisting Lama Lena. And we also thank our YouTube Sangha that will be joining us. I'd like to read a little something about Lama Lena. Lama Lena Geshe Katu is a teacher of direct mind perception meditation, Sokchen Mahamudra, and a lineage holder of several Tibetan Buddhist traditions. Her informal style is precise and direct, and she is revered by students around the world for her exceptional ability to share profound teachings in a clear, poetic, and humorous way. Beginning in 1972, Lama Lena spent 3 years studying Lama Tupten Yeshe at his monastery in Nepal. She then spent 7 years in retreat and practice in a small cave of Paso, Pema, under the tutelage of her root teacher, Venerable Wangdor Rinpoche. From then on, she continued to travel extensively with him as his main translator and assistant. At the request of His Excellence Sinkar Kotru Rinpoche and Venerable Wangdor Rinpoche, as well as many Western and Tibetan Dharma students, Lama Lena has been traveling, teaching, and translating from the lineages she holds. I'm not sure if this is current, Lama Lena, since you are reciting in your leads, but I'll read it and perhaps you can update us on this. Having studied Chinese medicine, Lama Lena also maintained a medical practice in San Francisco Bay Area. She currently splits her time between San Francisco and Sopema, where she teaches and provides medical assistance to the Tibetan refugee community the local Indian villagers, and mountain tribespeople.
Little old, I'm based in New Orleans now.
Yes, as of not too long ago, right?
Yeah, that was this year.
As far as tonight, this is a small description of what the teaching will entail tonight. This is a profound set of instructions that encapsulates the essence of Dzogchen practice. They guide practitioners to direct recognition of their own innate nature, the state of pure awareness, and to realize that liberation is not something to be attained, but it is already present. In essence, the 3 words guide practitioners from direct recognition of their own nature to cultivate a single point of focus, and ultimately to a profound confidence in their inherent liberation. They provide a concise yet powerful framework for realizing the nature of reality and the path to enlightenment within the Dzogchen tradition. So our teaching today will be from 6 to 8. Just some minor household rules. The restrooms are right here as the sign is pointing to. If you need anything, you can let myself know, or Raul or Rob. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was beautifully done. And now that we have done the traditional pre-Wong treasure hunt, oh, you used to see the things Rinpoche had me send me off for. A ribbon, exactly that color, and he pointed something. And 1 shade off wouldn't do. 3 seashells, a marble. It's traditional. So this was for the URL. It's still traditional. First order will be to feed the land spirits. Sadak, land kings. In all the places, there are beings like you and me, but not human, that live on the land as part of the land. Mountains have them, rivers have them, even a local tree might have a small one. It's good to be friends with them. If they're pissed at you, they can really fuck up the plumbing. Trust me on that one. So, usually before the start of a teaching, which might be a bit loud psychically, we tend to offer them tea and cookies. It's like if you're going to have a big party for your birthday that might go a little bit loud. You go to the neighbors a few days before or the day before and you tell them about it, you invite them and you give them some homemade cookies. It really keeps them from having to call the cops to get you to quiet down. This is kind of the similar principle, so I need 2 people of this place. Are you from around here? Yeah, you. And you 2 are together? How about you 2? I usually, because you see, kids can see the spirit still. They know where they are, they can tell you. So if I send the 2 of you with these 2 plates out into the backyard, he'll tell you where the land spirits are back there. It's those places that if you played there after a day or 2, you'd give them a name. You'd call it the tree or the old rock or something. You know those places. That's how you see land spirits. And it's just easier for kids. You have kids who play in a vacant lot and all the little places like pile of rocks, they have names. Because they're where the land spirits are, so they have more placeness. So if you 2 will take this when I tell you, I'll make really big hand motions. And take it out the back. Is there a door to the back here?
Yes.
Perhaps you'll help them with doors?
Yeah.
This is going to happen in a few minutes. Something else has to happen first. And then what you do is you figure out where, you ask him to show you where the spirits are. You can probably see them too, but you're a certainty. And then you toss the contents of the plate, holding on to the cup and the plate. Don't let go of the cup and plate. Just the contents, the cookies and the tea, up into the air towards that rock or that bush or that tree where they are. Tumbala me sanje rimboche, Chobala me tancho rimboche, Tumbala me gedun rimboche, Shabne kuncho sumla chopa. Tumbala me sanje rimboche, Tumbala me tamcho rimboche, Tumbala me gedun rimboche, Sabne kuncha kumla chopabu. Tumbala me sanje rimboche, Tumbala me tamcho rimboche, Tumbala me gedun rimboche, Shamne kunchok sumla chopabu. You day ragne dak chorchela, je se pucho pujan boe, nam jor ma sundang rupo dang, sanje chen vejim chile zo, chenam chasoa Devetu Dakso Gonne Pesapso Nedang Upanchapsu Shivadang Chudang Trati Pilwe Zedu. Shuku kundu songo gomboyi, Dorje sempa Garab Dorje dang, Shiri singisha bardushin labde, Dedama zantata tusum chi, Zogchen jupe lamala solo deb, Ergin pema junela solo deb, Dorji chang chitilo narudang, Marpa mila gompo tatapa, Na pupadang palden drupaso, Kargulama namla solo deb, Ochen lama namla solo deb. Druchen lama namla solo deb, Kaginwari lama namla solo deb, Shakya lama namla solo Duda Yundran Lama Namla Solo Deb Palkon Dujong Dang Yerme Pa Gun Garab Dorje Jin Trak Pa Jetidang Nisume Pai Pa Lamanam Chitinti Chong. In Dzogchen, there is a root text written by Garab Dorje way back before the Dharma came up to Tibet. I think Garab Dorje was about 1,000 years ago. Interesting kid. He was born to a nun who abandoned him in the forest because it's too embarrassing to have a baby when you're a nun. Think Ireland 100 years ago. So she couldn't do it. She went home and after a couple of days, she just couldn't do it, so she went back. And there's the baby right where she left him in the forest, looking perfectly fat and happy. Like he's just fine. So she took him home. She loved him too much to leave him there, and dealt with the embarrassment of being a nun with a baby. And she raised the kid on her own. And the thing about him was he had so damn much charisma that anyone who saw him loved him, which is why he's called Garab Dorje. It literally means adamantine lovable one, or unshakably lovable. When he was 14-ish, tween going on teen, when he was even little, he used to disappear. Like when he's 3 and 4, little one, he'd get away from his mom and he'd be gone for hours, and she could never find him. And she finally said, "Where are you getting off to when I can't find you?" And he said, "Oh, I'm going to Vajrasattva's Pure Land." "Well, what are you doing there?" "I'm getting teachings from Vajrasattva." "Well, what have you learned?" "Well, everything he knows, I now know. I got all of them." Now, this is in symbols and in a story which was experienced by certain people. Each person had their own story in this process. The mother, her whole story about being embarrassed and an unwed nun and how she's going to raise this kid on her own. And so she's living that story. This kid, this super lovable, just past toddler, is living this story of going to Pure Lands and getting teachings. Everybody around there has their own story about how it went down. Understand that Vajrasattva is the archetypical symbol of kata, primordial purity. Each living being's own innate unfuckableness. That part of you that you can't mess up with hang-ups, because it's so empty that there's nothing for them to stick to. It's like trying to put your Dorje on a shelf in the sky. It just won't stay. So, great lovableness goes to adamantine unfuck-upableness and inhales the totality of it. That's probably someone listening on there as well. It's always out of sync. Later, when Garab Dorje was a young teen, he said to his mom, "I want to go to Nalanda." This is in the high days of Nalanda. "And I want to debate the scholars there." And she's like, "Kid, your head's done swelled. Get a hold of yourself. And he says, no, I'm serious. And he wouldn't stop bugging her about it. They lived, I guess, not that far from Nalanda. So finally, Mom goes over and says, look, I got a problem with my kid. Would you help me? He keeps saying he wants to come debate you all, and he won't put it down. And he's like 13, 14. And the scholar said, we'll help you out with that. Bring him over. We'll take care of it. So she brought him to Nalanda, and he debated all the scholars. And to everyone's amazement, he won. In those days, intellectualism was at its peak in Buddha Dharma. So they debated things like the Abhidharma, the Diamond Sutra. This is where the tool of intellect is used to show beyond mind. So he won all the intellectual debates, and at that point, what had been the greatest scholar there, once he was off in retreat. That was Jompo. He was off in retreat, and he heard grapevine, I guess. Grapevine, yeah. Tibetan grapevine goes into retreat, so probably Indian monk grapevine does too. You still hear. So he heard the rumor that there was this upstart kid that had defeated all the scholars. I better get there and go there, break retreat and go there and put the kid in his place. Stupid kid. So he goes, and Jompo defeats him in debate. So he realizes that he wants Jompo for his teacher. But he's been talking shit about Jompo for a while now, since he heard about him. So he's pretty embarrassed. He says, well, I'll cut my tongue out and I'll learn from you silently. And Garab Dorje says, come off it, that's not necessary. It would be better if you learned from me and talked about it. And that's Garab Dorje's most famous lineage holder. So the lineage goes from Garab Dorje to Jompo to Sri Saraha, on down through Guru Rinpoche, up into Tibet through Guru Rinpoche's disciples, and so on down to, I can't give you all the begats from the very beginning time of Garab Dorje, probably a couple of thousand years ago, to now. But the most recent ones were Jangchub Dorje to Kempo Chunchong, to Wangdor Rinpoche, to myself. Lineage matters. For years, this was the whispered line. But what do you think lineage is? It's not just a pass down from one person to the next, because it goes all the way back from Garab Dorje to Vajrasattva, who is a symbol of the fourth time. Only that which is within time and space can be dirtied, can be corrupted. The fourth time, beyond time and space, outside of space, beyond time itself, is unshakable. It's the symbol of Vajrasattva, so it comes out of the fourth time, which is when we say all Buddhas of the three times are together in the fourth time. Every living being, you, the bugs that bother you in the kitchen, the skeeters that come after you in the evening, the dogs and the birds and everything else, including you and you, all have this Buddha nature. And there is a point in time, somewhen, and a point in space somewhere where you actualize your own enlightenment. and enter the fourth time. That point is potentially in each and every moment you live. Both all moments of the past, all moments of the present, and all moments of the future. However, because you are deeply involved in a linear story, which is your own personal story as you tell it, from childhood through adulthood, through striving, through wanting this, through doing that, you rarely look outside the box of your personal story, and you rarely notice the fourth time. But in the fourth time, outside of time and space, all sentient beings are all Buddhas. And all Buddhas are of the essence of your own teacher. For on entering the lineage, your teacher is also in the merge with their lineage back to its Sambhogakaya manifestation of the life force of the universe, which in Dzogchen lineage, in this case, it is Vajrasattva. It's hard to look there and find the words to describe it, because it will not fit into words, or into time or space. But every one of you is in that. From whatever point in time, you recognize that you are in that. You adamantly notice it. From that point in time, you're part of that. And this is where Guru Yoga, to the lineage, to the fourth time, to all Buddhas of the past, present, and future, and Bodhisattva, open-hearted, great-heartedness to all life in the universe, becomes singular rather than dual. And this is the real Bodhisattva. Not the made-up Bodhisattva of, oh, I'm going to be kind to things until they piss me off. There are no exceptions. If it's alive, the definition of alive is it experiences hope and fear. It has Buddha nature. If it has Buddha nature, it is among all Buddhas of the fourth time. All practice is breaking the habit of your obsessive compulsive focus on your little story of this current time and place, and opening your orifice of a focus up wide into the fourth time, and practicing that so it becomes habitual. So you don't, the moment you glimpse it, go, where was I? Which is what most of us do the first 500 times. And this is why the text starts with Guru Yoga. The Guru, the teacher, is the essence and embodiment of the three rare and supreme ones, meaning Dharmakaya, infinite, vast, open awareness, or openness. Sambhogakaya, the awareness of infinite, vast openness. And Nirmanakaya, the innate creativity of the awareness of infinite, vast openness. Not separate. One thing. So the first line is homage to the teacher. But it doesn't mean just the person sitting here. It's all the way back through the lineage, through all the teachers, all the way back into Sambhogakaya itself, Vajrasattva. into the totality of that, which is Bhavakaya. Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya is one thing. Tawa is the key. Sometimes translated as view, but not quite. View assumes you're over here viewing something over there, and Tawa doesn't. Tawa Longchen Rabjam Ying. Longchen Rabjam is one of the names of the teachers of the lineage as it passes down from Garab Dorje. It also has meaning. It means vast expanse beyond knowing, referring it to Dharmakaya nature of mind. So the Tibetans recite this out loud a lot to make it go in, even if they don't understand it. I don't think you guys do it that way in the West. But when you say that often enough to yourself, it becomes real. And since Longchen Rabjam is in Tibetan, they're saying again and again, Tawa, infinite vast expanse. The practice is rays of vitality. The action is that of all the bodhisattvas. Tawa Longchen Rabjam in Gompa Khense Oserian, Sopa Gyalway Nyugu Ying. To someone who practices this way in these three keys, turning, when they say renouncing the affairs of this life, what it doesn't mean throwing them away. It doesn't mean quitting your job, leaving your family, not unless you're of the appropriate age to do that. There's two appropriate ages to quit your job, leave your family, and go wander in Dharma. One is about 18, 19, or 25, 26, depending on how fast you mature. And the other is somewhere in the 60s. You got two chances. You're never going to do it in your 40s and 50s, for most people, because you've gotten involved with responsibilities. Do not leave your kid. I want to emphasize this really strongly to the guys out there who think, oh, now I'll go practice Dharma, I'll abandon my wife and child. That's not the practice of Dharma. That's you being a butthead. Don't do that. You started it, finish it. However, there are times when leaving is appropriate. Once the kids pass college, they're pretty much on their own. Once you're either past college or have decided against it or decided to postpone it, you have a chance then too. To actually renounce the affairs of this life and go wander and practice. But there's another way right in the middle of life to do it. It's a shift of attention. It's a working on it by practice to break that obsessive compulsive attachment of paying attention to all the stuff. What have you been doing all day with your mind? You've been paying attention to stuff. We worked on something, we were writing. Stuff. It all talked about stuff and garbage cans and straight back chairs and things. Stuff. And then our attention was on food, because we were hungry by then. And then our attention was on a nap, which is still stuff. Oh, I'm tired, I will fix that. And then we had our attention on electronic stuff, but it's still this constant compulsive obsession with getting all the ducks in a row. Good luck with that. Ducks wiggle. Ducks are part of the moving. They aren't going to stay in a row. So the trick is to simply shift your attention off of that frequently. When you find yourself obsessing with your life, which happens really a lot, you notice it and you shift your attention to Tawa. Just for a moment, just for a breath. So in order to do this, you need to have found Tawa. If you're able, using this method of shifting your attention to Tawa, to renounce the affairs of this life by simply renouncing your obsession with them, while still maintaining the affairs, but not obsessing with them the way you usually do, you may well attain enlightenment in this very life. Even if you don't, you will fall from happiness to happiness, even in sadness. You will be released from, you know, that itch, that feeling of nothing's ever right. That's what you will be released from. And even though shit will continue to happen, because shit does, and you will be happy and sad because one does, that accompanying great itch of dissatisfaction that's continuously there won't be. That's a shift that you can expect even if you don't attain enlightenment in this very life. And if you follow the instructions, you probably will. There's very few that can't. The instructions are very, very simple. That's what Garab Dorje did. These instructions existed before Garab Dorje. They're in the 21 Nails. Boy, is that a complex text. They're in the Abhidharma, also highly complex. He simplified it into easy. Easy to understand, easy to do. So that's the beauty of this particular text. But to get it working, you need to recognize yourself as Tawa. This can be difficult in the beginning because it's so not what you've learned to do all your life. So we've figured out a bunch of little tricks that make it easier. The first is the teaching of the body, the position of the body. If you have your back in alignment, not slumped, with whatever supports you need. There's pillows around here. There's things to stick behind you. Those chairs are not the best for it, but do what you can. Either cross-legged in a full lotus or a half lotus, or the Japanese kneeling position with a kneeling stool, that also works, or the Maitreya position in a chair, which is what I'm doing right now. But at home, make a chair, get a chair that fits you, so that your legs don't dangle if you're short, or your knees aren't up around your chin if you're tall. And your hands just sort of relaxed on your thighs. They're brought in here to the navel at the Dantian, with the right one on top of the left in lotus position. They're just on your thighs in the Maitreya position. I'm less familiar with the Japanese position. But if you have lordosis or any kind of back scoliosis, fix it with how you set your seat. Bring your chin back a little. Lay your tongue naturally on the roof of the mouth, so the sides of it go between your teeth a little bit like this. And then your mouth is almost closed, but not quite. Lips are not fully closed, and your teeth are not together. It's really important that your teeth don't touch, because you'll start jaw thingies. The key, however, to the body position is the eyes and the breathing. The eyes, your attention follows the line of your gaze. Look in there, in that room over there. You can't look in that room without paying attention to the things you see in there. You can't turn your head in the other direction and look at things without paying attention. See what I mean? So all day, your eyes have been in a sort of point focus that allows you to read, look at objects, move things around, whatever you've done, like working on a computer or in an office, or even as a gardener. So you have point focus on this plant and how deep you're planting it and how far away from the other plant. It's still point focus of your eyeballs. Remember how your attention couldn't not follow your gaze? So you're going to undo that point focus. The method given to undo the point focus is to pick a point about 2 meters in front of your nose in empty space. First, focus on that point, and then release that point. With nothing there, it's easier to release the focus. You will know when your focus is properly released because your peripheral vision here and your central vision here are equally clear, not clear. It's not fuzzy, but it's not focused. In the beginning, your eyes will really want to focus on something. You have to train those little muscles that control the lens to relax while you're awake while you're awake and your eyes are open instead of while you're asleep with your eyes closed. The breathing pattern that helps is simply a shorter in-breath than the out-breath, comfortably and down to the bottom. If you are feeling agitated, take a deep breath in through your nose and blow it out very slowly through your mouth like this. That settles the chi in your channels. Just relax here. As thoughts happen, which they will, don't pay them no never mind. Don't try to stop thinking. Don't follow your thoughts into the story that they're going to try to tell you. You want the thoughts, to see them, to think them clearly, need a point focus from thought to thought. The point focus moves through time from thought to thought. Without the point focus, the thoughts don't connect to each other. It's not sleep. You're awake, you're aware, but you're not awake and aware of anything. Now gently, as the thought happens, allow your focus of attention to expand into the where the thoughts are happening rather than the what they think. Relax again. Periodically, by habit, you'll try to tighten up and tell yourself a story. Don't fight it. Don't follow it. Fighting it gives the story energy. Following it gives it energy. Leave it alone. Relax. This is mind looking. Where awareness is aware of itself without creating. Mind seeing. Mind being. Don't try to make something out of this. A special thing. Woo-woo. Just relax into the simplicity of mind, of awareness, opened into itself. Of mind seeing mind, while the thoughts play. Don't stop their play. Don't pay any attention to whatever games they're playing. Again and again, relax the orifice of attention into wide open awareness without an object of focus. There's not a thing there. No color, red or yellow or blue. No shape of round or square or triangular. Neither brightness nor dimness, for it neither is nor isn't. As Saraha once said, this is where all ises and isn'ts aren't. No thing of it. Relax as this. This is not pointed like a bird dog. It's like sliding into a hot bath on a cold day. We call it Tawa. But there's nothing to it. Not even a ta nor a wa. And yet, being Homo sapiens, when we want to communicate to each other something, we give it a name. You could as easily call it George. Sometimes we give it fancy names. Dharmakaya, nature of mind, Great Mother Ocean, Dharmakaya. None of these things are things. None of them will hold water. Like any thought, you cannot even sit on it. Relax beyond the thinking without bothering the thinking. Without fighting with the thinking to make it stop. Without following the thoughts to see what they're going to say. And again, relax like this. Do you understand? There was nothing to understand. Do you see? There's nothing there to see. Do you see that there's nothing there to see? Do you see that you are what is being shown? You are your mind. Your mind is king of you. Everything you do is because your mind tells you to. You're here tonight because you got an idea in your mind to come here and you talked to yourself about it and then you did that. It's your mind. It's not obsessing with minutiae. It's really big, isn't it? Are there any questions? Yes.
I just want to run this by you in the beginning.
Louder, please. There's a hum from everything. Can you be loud?
I just want to run this through you in the beginning. When I began this, it was very hard for my mind to settle down. And I found that if I allow myself to kind of just like say random stuff inside of me, like wa, sha, wa, na, na, they're just nonsense stuff. Usually gets rid of all that. There comes a moment where associated. But I don't know if that's the right thing to do.
That is one of the methods in the Rushen. We have something called Rushens in Dzogchen. They're like Nundros. So that is one of the methods in the inner mind Rushen. There isn't time to teach you that entire inner mind Rushen with all those methods, but a lot of them involve finding your mind, big mind. And one of them uses a method of saying random thoughts and then looking to see where they are. Cup, dog, boot, flower pot. which is very similar to you using random syllables to do it. Excellent if that works. Eventually, you won't need that method to relax. After a lot of practice, you can just do it. But do use that method in as long as you need it. One of the methods in the Rushen is to visualize images, generally bigger than a bread box. Ones that won't fit between your ears, like a big tree or a mountain, as if you're standing, looking up at it. And then try to figure out where the picture is. You can't, or try to feel around using your heart, not your intellect. Feel around for where the picture is. This is all Art of Inner Mind Rushen, which is a really nice practice and a nundro to Dzogchen. Other questions?
You recently put me back on the pebble in Mahamudra, and as I was sitting here relaxing in the dawa, it feels very similar to where I get with the pebble after a while. So at that point, would it be okay to release my point focus from the pebble and rest in that openness, or should I stay with the pebble?
Yes, rest in that openness. What you're reaching is Shine with an object to Shine without an object. In introducing you to Tawa first, you'll probably enter through Shine without an object. The difference between Trekcha and Shine without an object is Shine without an object, the thoughts stop. You don't pay attention to them long enough. They're not even happening. Whereas in Trekcha, it doesn't matter. They might be happening, they might not. It's irrelevant. Some people, and generally I heard the ones who can towards Mahamudra, are able to stop thinking for a time. Some people aren't, and I heard them towards Maha'ati. My teacher tried to teach me Mahamudra first, for a year or two. I could not stop thinking. I says, okay, not working. And he switched me to Maha'ati. So, yes, when there are no thoughts happening, and it feels very much like this that I've shown as Tawa tonight, because we're going to take that further. From Shine without an object equivalent, through the separating Rushen, through the bringing it back together again. That's all in Mahamudra. We've got different methods in Maha'ati. Other question? You got one more?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I just want to follow up on that. Usually, after I'm done with the last lady,
With a what?
just random like
Uh-huh.
Usually I reach like a dreamy kind of state, right? Not exactly dreamy, but if I give into it, can I close my eyes further?
Yeah, don't close your eyes further.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what happens.
You fall asleep.
Not quite. I start seeing like a show of lights, random lights appearing,
This is an edge of dream time. If you fall asleep slow enough, you'll notice that that happens as you fall asleep at night. You're just balancing on the edge. That's not what you want to do.
even if you get a lucid dream, like it's fine.
Well, if you're practicing dream yoga, but this isn't the practice of dream yoga. If dream yoga is your practice, it's all about getting lucid dreams. In most traditions, there's other things you do with it besides that. But this is not dream yoga. This is gom, trekcha. Cutting through is what trekcha means. cutting through the crap of samsara to allow enlightenment, nirvana, another word for it, to express itself. No, you're not getting a feel of it in doing that. What you want to do is be awake, alert, aware, but not follow your thoughts. Not fuzzy.
Because usually what happens, if I don't go into that state, I'm like, okay, let's think about a situation I want to resolve in this state.
No, that's not useful either. Remember I said you'll probably get enlightened in this life if you follow the instructions. That was an if. Also, you desperately need one of these. You've got a body like mine. Meditation sash. Your posture's awful. This helps, truly. Yeah. What you want to, isn't there something you can lean back on? Yeah. You don't have to be directly facing me. I just want you to be able to relax with your back straight so that it goes in straight. Otherwise, if you swallow it crooked, it's going to get caught in your craw. Besides, if you slump over a lot, it's going to encourage like depression and just weird mental states. And if you lean back a lot, too far back, it's going to encourage insomnia and, you know, the revving. So really does matter even how you sit in daily life. You ever notice how teenagers usually sit? Like pretzels? Ever notice how teenagers usually think? Could there be an association? Any other questions on how to? From the far back there. Could you stand up to talk to me so I can see you?
Hi.
Aye.
So, question on what you were describing with Tawa. Were you describing the Dharmakaya or the Trikaya?
Doesn't matter. Whatever I was describing was words. Go find out if my words were close to accurate or not by your own experience. Words don't fit. Words are those little picky thoughts that natter about that we're obsessed with. I was describing the Dharmakaya aspect of the trachea. Because I will associate these 3 words that I'm teaching starting tomorrow with, there's 3 sessions more. Each of the 3 words. This is intro, Guru Yoga, the basic, pointing out Tawa, which gets to happening again and again. But each of these 3 words also associates with a kaya. So that everything is woven together. And then you get a copy of the text and you read it out loud to yourself periodically to remember. Nice copy at Lotawa House. Send them an offering if you download their stuff. They're really good guys and they do it for free. Everybody else sells it, they do it for free, so you're naturally bound to send. $1, man. You can Venmo them 50 cents if that's what you got. If you don't have $1 to send to them and you're going to download it, I'll give you $1. I really appreciate those guys a lot over at Lotsawa House. Other questions back there? Moving forward, yeah, with the mask on.
Yes. Two questions about sound for a second. Physical instructions. So with the tongue, if I'm here, I can still breathe in through my nose or my mouth. If I'm here, it's kind of harder to let air in through my mouth. And I wasn't sure. I'm questioning about the specificity of that.
Don't worry about it. You want it so it holds your teeth apart. Because otherwise we have a tendency to bring them together, and you want it so you can breathe. And you don't want it doing anything fancy like curling backwards. There are practices where this is not that. So to differentiate it from that for people who've been doing that, this is just a natural.
And one more question. With the J's, I've been practicing with most of the instructions that you just gave for the last couple of years, but I've also received the instruction of like moving slightly above the horizon, like not directly.
That is generally used when somebody teaches it outdoors.
Okay.
And that's how you find something that you can gaze at that's a distance away. So you can do it, look slightly above the horizon at sky. But you have to go be outdoors to make that work. So use that method outside and this method inside, and sit at least, a few meters from the nearest wall. It's not like Zen where you face the wall.
I, going down the days, I often meditate with my eyes closed. So,
This will hurt your nose eventually,
well, it hurts my eyes.
to have them open.
Yeah, like I find that to keep them open.
No, you're supposed to blink. You don't keep them open. You blink whenever you need
They
to.
want close permanently.
That is a habit which you want to change, because at some point you need to merge your sitting on the cushion with getting up and walking around. And if you've got your eye closed, you're going to bump into things. So you want to make the habit of, so that you can do that without separating them. Everything has to be the same, so eyes are the same. You don't want to have to eventually open them every time you're going to get up, because it'll draw a division there. It'll make a thing there. And that will be much harder to overcome then than it is now in the beginning.
So am I just doomed to, I've been meditating for 5 years? Is it gonna
That's
take
nothing.
5 years to do that?
It might.
So
5 years is nothing.
It's nothing, I know, but in the interim, I just have to.
Blink a lot. Make sure you blink a lot and experiment with doing this with your glasses on and with them off. Some people find the gaze, the releasing point focus, easier with them off. Some people find it easier with them on. Let's see, Karen, I need you to come up here and see if there's any questions coming in there on chat. No, you can't move it. You have to leave it right where it is.
Okay. There was somebody in the back that had their hand up.
Yes, is anybody else here with something? I can't see you, so just stand up and talk to me.
Thank you for your teachings, Mala. Could you please advise me if it would be better now in order to start doing this, or continuing doing this, to move from Nondro to Rusha, to be really identified power?
How far along are you in your Nundro?
1 year.
That doesn't tell me anything.
Okay, the first three, the Guru Yoga, I'm starting mandala.
You're starting mandala.
Yes, and 10,000 repetitions each.
I would recommend, you're almost done. Finish your Nundro. You put so much into it. It will be good to have to do it, and besides, mandala is a beautiful practice. Do let it shift you from belief in a round earth to a flat one. Do recognize outer, inner, and secret mandala. Don't just say the words and do the heaps of grain. Do start your sessions with a long mandala. Learn it. Imagine things. Go off to FPMC,
FPMT.
and read about the offering goddesses and the precious queen and what these really are and what they symbolize. They've got good stuff up there on it.
Write a question.
So when you're gonna
So I
do
can see it.
it.
And Lama, you recommended me doing with this also generosity, expecting for my daughter's diagnosis from the Mayo Clinic, and you advised me for that. And
Yes.
do I continue even with this practice, with the generosity practice?
Yes, because at the end of the Chenrezig practice, when the light is everywhere, that's Tawa.
Thank you very much.
So they just fit in together. Awake, aware, and joyous are the descriptions of Tawa. Chenrezig goes in through the joyous side, or empty. Okay, there's two sides: the joyousness of Bodhisattva, Tashi, bliss, and the emptiness of Sunyata. So this practice takes you directly in through the emptiness. Tawa is empty of thingness, empty of thought, contains all potential thought and no thought. Whereas Chenrezig takes you in through the life force of Bodhisattva, the bliss of that, which is the light. But they both meet here, so they synergize really well. You're welcome. Did you find any questions?
I have not seen any questions.
Okay, well, we may not have any, or I will figure out better how to find any
Oh wait,
tomorrow.
let's see.
Other questions here? Yes, in the front.
For somebody who has never done this before, how often should we practice?
Between now and when we meet again, at least 3 or 4 times.
Tomorrow, you think?
Yes, until tomorrow morning. So you should practice once before supper, once after supper, once in the early morning before breakfast, once after breakfast, and then we'll get together again. Short mini sessions are better than long ones. I don't think if you're just starting out that more than a 15-minute session is going to do much for you. So give it a try. That will make what's coming tomorrow easier. All of you should do that tonight, even if you're experienced. Time on the cushion deepens your awareness of Tawa. Did you have a question, Vicki?
Oh, I was trying to ask a question for someone online.
Oh, you've got the video gone away.
No, I didn't. It's still there.
Okay. No, we haven't.
Okay, there is a question from Chris.
Oh, there. Okay.
Is there a single point in time that we can say that beings entered samsara and became unaware of their own nature, or
It's not a point in time. It's the 0 point on the XY axis.
or am I thinking too linear?
You're thinking too linear. It's the 0 point on the XY axis, with X being space and Y being time. The 0 point of the creation of both those axes, which isn't on either one. I can say that better in math than anything else. Other questions here? That person in the back.
Yes. So, a question on the coming out that you just gave.
Yes?
Is that all that is required to rest into the tree guide? Is that
For some people. Other people need to have it pointed out to them. Well, for instance, myself, probably about 500 to 700 times before I got it. I was the translator for my teacher, and he pointed it out everywhere. And he used to go to 50 places a year with maybe 2 or 3 sessions in each place, pointing out in each session. And it took 5 to 10 years before I actually got it. So,
Any more?
however, I did see a Chickawa once. We saw a Chickawa. He pointed it out, they got it, they were done. So they do exist. We were both quite surprised. We thought they were mythical. Chickawas.
In the sense of resting the mind, as you put it, that is sufficient. There's no further necessary steps, no further necessary.
Yes, there are.
Okay. I see.
You'll have them by the end of the weekend. I'm giving you this in bite-sized pieces. It's easier to swallow.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Anyone else here?
I just had something to
Behind you.
So, with Tawa, I'm very like spatial, so I try to like feel into it, and I just want to make sure I'm doing it right.
It's bigger than space. In Mahamudra, we use the analogy of thoughts are like stuff. Stuff moves through space. That space is Tawa, analogously. Outer space isn't specifically Tawa. Because outer space doesn't think at you, whereas mind does, but it's bigger than that. So you might want to use that analogy to sneak up on it. Does that help? And you had one.
So, going back to the question about time, it seems almost like when you reach this state of quiescence in your mind, after doing this practice, you're able to fully trust yourself to the fact that time is a dependently arising phenomenon. And
But you don't want to think that.
no way, I'm not done. Okay. And that leads me, at least in particular, to think that causality is not really a feature of nature. It's our little game, you know, right?
It is not experienced in the same way by plants. However,
What do I do with that feeling once I have it?
well, it's an error because as soon as you're within the time-space continuum, causality describes the pattern outside of the time-space continuum. It's called Indra's net. There's some pretty paintings of that.
Oh.
And you've got one from out there.
Oh, you got?
Mama, this is for Rick, and
Rick,
he's asking, at times in session when things really relax, I can sense my stomach knots loosening. It seems to be a good sign, but it also feels like it's too much of a highlight. How to relax deeper when it feels like being on a high wire?
Outer body Rushen for you. Tell him, Rick, outer body Rushen, the burning blue Dorje. That will take care of your stomach problem. Tell him, talk to me in group or get those teachings from myself or anyone in Norbu's community. He's on. Okay. So Rick, get those teachings from either myself when I'm giving them, which here is and now is not appropriate, or anyone in Norbu's community. It's the burning blue Vajra. And that will allow you to relax those more completely. It's a bit of work. People who've done it are giggling at that statement.
One more question for Dimitri. When I soften my gaze and widen the focus, how far to the peripheral vision should I go? And there's a second question.
Tell him I don't care.
Okay, he's hearing it. Number 2, Dimitri asks, what do we do with other sensations besides visual and thought? What do we do with feelings and sounds?
The same thing you do with visual and thought. Pay it no, never mind. Do not try to stop it. Do not try to make it go away. Simply do not entertain it in your awareness. Do not feed it energy by giving it your attention. And we're about to the end of things. Last how-to questions here, because you're supposed to go home and do homework.
May I ask a question of clarifying the term tawa? I'm struggling to find the right words, but is this a quality of mind or it's beyond?
Beyond. Literally, they commonly translate tawa as the view. It refers to the direct perception of mind by mind. Mind being, in this case, semni rather than sem, or big mind rather than little mind. Little mind is like your personality. It's always changing. It dweebles about. Big mind is like all Buddhas in the fourth time. Since you are that as well as little mind, you first look at big mind with little mind, and then you relax into it until you recognize that you are big mind looking at big mind. This was a whole bunch of euphemisms of ways of putting it. They are words. Do not eat the words. Look where they might be pointing, because no word goes all the way. Did that help a little?
Yes. Thank you.
Anything else here, especially from newer folks? Yes.
I really enjoy that you're encouraging keeping your eyes partially open. It helps me in particular to carry this view into daily life.
Which by the second teaching tomorrow afternoon will be all about that. And that'll be your tomorrow night's homework. But take this in bite-sized pieces, even if you've done it all before. There is some subtle flavor that you may have missed. It's why I'm actually reading most of it to you in Tibetan as well as in English. For the subtle flavors. Because there isn't a one-to-one correspondence between Tibetan and English. There isn't one word. See, Tibetan doesn't even have words. It has phrases. It has syllables that modify each other into phrases. So it would be like trying to speak Danish with those super long words, except the verb and the adjective are all in the same word. Okay, so it's kind of funny to translate it. Also, it's a tonal language. Eastern Tibetan, not Western Tibetan. Anyway, other last questions here. Anything in the peanut gallery? Okay, guys, I am going to see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. in Mountain Time, which is where I am, apparently, today. Ge wandi nyur duda che chi sa all beings recognize their own true nature. Can someone figure out how to turn it off?
Let's see.